for the infusion of positive energy into the lives of single Latter-day Saints everywhere. This is Joy in the Journey Radio.
And welcome back, peeps, to the wonderful, joyous episode of Joy in the Journey Radio. I am Lance, your host for Joy in the Journey Radio. Today is the 24th of November, 2021, and this is episode number 204, Grow Your Gratitude. This past weekend, I attended State Conference. During the Saturday evening session, we sang the hymn, Scatter Sunshine. I've always enjoyed the positive, upbeat outlook this hymn provides. Singing it has always helped me focus on my blessings and the power I have to share goodness with others. But as I thought about it after we sang it, I began to develop a new appreciation for this hymn. Scattering sunshine certainly implies a gratitude for that light. Indeed, if we weren't grateful for the light we have, we wouldn't feel that inclined to share it. But the converse is also true, and symbiotically so. Gratitude for our blessings encourages us to share those blessings with others, and sharing those blessings in turn encourages gratitude for them. Want to feel more gratitude? Share your blessings. Want more blessings to share? Feel more gratitude. The best way to grow your gratitude is to share what you're grateful for with others. Is that where the popular Thanksgiving tradition came from? You know, where everyone takes turns around the table sharing something they're grateful for? There's something about sharing our blessings with others and hearing them share their blessings with us that inspires increased gratitude for our own blessings. I don't quite remember whether my family had that tradition. The tradition I do remember is feasting on our typical family spread. My mother would cook a turkey roast in the slow cooker and then serve it with mashed potatoes and gravy, stuffing, green beans, corn, sweet potatoes baked with brown sugar and marshmallows, and of course, my mother's absolutely wonderful homemade yeast rolls. There was always pie for dessert. Then, after stuffing ourselves with the late lunch, we'd embrace our second great Thanksgiving tradition, a good game of Fat Dog. If you've never played Fat Dog, it's really easy. You find a comfortable seat, you raise your feet, you put your hands on your belly, and pretend you're holding jelly. Actually, that last part I added just for the rhyme. Seriously, there's nothing like a good game of Fat Dog to help you feel grateful for good food. As I think back upon those times, I feel grateful that I lived them. If you've ever had one of my mother's rolls, you know all of the rolls are inferior. I'm grateful I could have that experience. What a fond memory is now mine. That's not my only fond memory. I'm grateful my mother taught me how to cook. I've never been as good as she was, but that skill has proven very useful on multiple occasions. I'm also grateful for the values my parents taught me. They helped make me the man I am today. I'm grateful for my education. My teachers taught me how to think rather than what to think. I've also had special opportunities to pursue higher education, starting in high school and continuing on through college. How many people can say they graduated with a bachelor's degree completely free of debt? These days, not many, but I'm grateful to be one of them. And this may sound surprising, but I'm grateful for my romantic relationships that didn't work out. Ostensibly, that would be all of them, since I'm still single. But I learned valuable lessons about myself and about life that I couldn't have learned in any other way. Those lessons will serve me well when the Lord's promises to me of an eternal companion are at long last fulfilled. Expressing my gratitude for my blessings turns my focus towards how abundantly I've been blessed. And immersing myself in that gratitude inspires me to share those blessings with others. Perhaps the mere mention of one blessing will instill gratitude in someone else who reflects and remarks, "Hey, I have that blessing too." Or perhaps hearing of my blessings will inspire someone else to help others to be as blessed as I am. Or perhaps, and this may be the most important outcome of all, just perhaps immersing myself in my gratitude for my blessings will inspire me to share my blessings with others by working to help them enjoy what I enjoy. That's the power of gratitude. And like a testimony, you grow your gratitude when you share. So this Thanksgiving, be sure to share your gratitude. whether by social media or by phone or in person, or even in a journal that no one may read until years after your pen has touched paper. Take a moment to share your gratitude for your blessings. You'll feel the power of gratitude more fully in your life, and you'll be inspired to work to share your blessings with others. And that will bring you more joy in your journey. Back in a moment.
Joy in the Journey Radio.
And welcome back, peeps, to another wonderful, splendiferous, joyous episode of Joy in the Journey Radio. We are here back from that break here in the JJ Zone today talking about gratitude. Growing your gratitude, growing it so it grows. Gotta have fun, peeps. Gotta have fun. So, thank you, ABBA, by the way. Thank you, ABBA, for the music. You peeps are not checking out the live program we broadcast on Wednesday nights over the internet. You're really missing out because, you get not just the talk sessions that you get, when you're listening to like the podcast or you're watching it, watching the video podcast in our JJ Zoner membership, group on our webpage, or, maybe you're watching this on YouTube. Hey, you know what? You're just not getting the full enchilada. There's a few beans that you're missing. And, it's like we play music during the breaks. You don't, I mean, breaks here, we just basically cut them out because, this is the way it's formatted. But, well, no, well, also, it's like I would play. There's this whole thing called copyright law. I mean, intellectual property law. There's these things about having to pay money and get licenses, and which are terribly expensive. Now we're able to do it for the live broadcast on Wednesday. We're able to make that economically viable, but for the podcast that we distribute, for the videos that you're watching later, the licenses on that stuff is just ridiculously expensive. And so that's just what it is. And so that's why you don't get the actual music during the breaks on our podcast and the video versions that you see later, because it's just too pricey for the licenses. So be sure to tune in, Wednesday evenings. They're on the Join the Journey Radio Network, and you can get the full enchilada. You can get the music as well as the talk, tunes as well as talk. We'll put it to you that way, and you get the full Join the Journey Radio experience. But however you're here, I just want to say thank you. Thank you, ABBA, for the music that you played during the break. We thank you for that. Thank you. Whoever you are watching this, thank you for watching this. I've never, as I, was pointing out last week during the program, you know, when you're on your purpose and you're not looking for anything else, that's where the real joy comes from. And, for me, a part of my purpose has been Join the Journey Radio. And all along, I have never looked at, yes, I'm cognizant of the size of my audience. I've seen how it's, how the numbers have changed over time. I've seen how, uh, you know, people's lives have been touched and changed from it, and that's okay. The audience is kind of, I don't know, I guess defies my expectations. I would think that people who are, tuning in to listen to something, that they would actually be more involved. They'd be more participatory. But it turns out it's not that way at all. And they're different formats that people come in and they check out the program with. So I've got the podcast that I release, I've got the YouTube video that I post, I've got the actual live broadcast on Wednesday night, the numbers that are checking into each of these different segments are not the same. They're not the same. And so, I wouldn't have expected that. but it's what he says is like, you live and learn. You, you learn more as you go along, and I'm grateful for that opportunity. But it's never been about me. Part of the reason why I'm grateful that you are here watching this video, whoever you are, is because I know that this is one way in which the Lord can give goodness and light and blessings into your life, especially if you're a single Latter-day Saint, because that's really what this program revolves around. So it's about the single Latter-day Saint experience. How can we extract more joy in our journey? Because I got to tell you, I lived all over this country, and everywhere I've gone and lived, there have always been those single Latter-day Saints that were just overwhelmed with negativity, just overwhelmed with feelings of depression and discouragement. And, as I've gone on my own journey and the Lord has led me along, um, you know, I, I have learned so much. And a lot of what I've learned is how to extract more joy, regardless of your circumstances. And so I feel, because, I'm grateful to have that joy in my life, I feel a compulsion to share that joy with others. And that's the whole intent behind Join the Journey Radio. I want to help Latter-day Saint singles to feel the joy in their lives I've felt in mine. And I've had the ups and downs. I, my dating journey has, taken turns where it looked like, yeah, this I might be nearing the end, and then to have everything come crashing down and not work out. And I've been through the ups and the downs, and yet at the same time, I've learned how to have joy regardless of your circumstances, regardless of whether or not things are working out the way you would want them to, regardless of what's going on in your life, regardless of what other people say and do, you know, regardless of, the past and where you come from, and, not the background, and none of that matters. None of that matters. The only thing that matters, if you want to maximize the joy in your journey, the only thing that matters is what's up here in your head. That's it. And that's why we keep coming back to this theme of, you want to change your life, you got to change your thinking. You've got to change the way that you think. You got to change the way that you look at the world. You got to change the assumptions you have about how the world works, about how life works. Change your assumptions, change your perspective, change your attitudes, change your self-talk, the messages that you give to yourself. And, once you, adopt more effective habits in these areas, then you have more effective thinking, which leads to more effective action, which leads to more effective results, which then leads to better life, a more joyful life, a life in which your joy is maximized. And, one of those things that we need to change and adjust in our lives is this idea of, uh, I had it, and that's not me. Brain fart alert. I just, wow. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So living in the moment. It was there one moment there, and then the next moment it came to me. Living in the moment. We got to learn to live in the moment, peeps. Recognize the place where you are and learn to live in that moment. And gratitude is such a huge part of living in the moment. Thanksgiving's tomorrow, and so you got to know I was going to do something with gratitude, right? I was going to work that in, but it's true. Gratitude is, one of those essential elements to maximizing the joy that you have in you cannot I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this very carefully. You cannot have maximum joy in your life without gratitude. If you're not grateful for what you have, there's no way you're going to maximize your joy. Can't happen. It's impossible. Not going to happen. Will never happen. It's essential. Gratitude is essential to maximizing your joy. Because think about it this way. It's like I was saying in the monologue. It's like a testimony, right? It's like you get a testimony. The more you bear your testimony, the stronger your testimony gets. That's how you grow your testimony. Gratitude works the same way. The more you share gratitude, expressions of gratitude for what you have in your life, the more you have in your life, the more that will grow. And the more you have in your life, the more grateful you become for what you have in your life, and that grows your gratitude. And it's just this, symbiotic circle where you just, each one feeds off the other. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. So if you want more in your life, and it doesn't matter what the more is. I mean, here we're talking about joy. You want more joy in your life, then express more gratitude for what you have, and that will increase more of what you have in your life. So if you want to maximize the joy, start being more grateful. Start expressing more gratitude for the things in your life that give you joy. And the more you do that, the more things in life you'll have that give you joy. The more ways you'll be able to see where to extract joy from what you already have. Maybe there's some things in your life that aren't giving you joy right now that could give you joy if only you could unlock with the key. The key is gratitude. Gratitude is the key that opens the lock that holds back the maximum joy that we can experience in life. So if you want more things to be thankful for, if you want more in your life, more of anything, really, not just joy. I mean, it works with anything. Start with expressions of gratitude. Be more grateful. And then it's just like a testimony. It's a symbiotic relationship. The more you express gratitude, the more you get to be grateful for, the more you have to be grateful for, the more, expressions of gratitude you can have. And it's just this symbiotic relationship. The two feed off of each other. So, that's part of the reason why I love Thanksgiving. Now, there are other reasons why I love Thanksgiving, but we're coming up to a break now. So let's go and take that break. And when we come back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit more about gratitude, and I'm going to share with you some of my own expressions of gratitude to help inspire you along with your expressions of gratitude. So we'll get to there after the break. See you there on the other side.
Joy in the Journey Radio.
And welcome back from that break, Pete's. We are here in the JJ Zone, Join the Journey Radio, today talking about growing your gratitude. Yeah, I love Jack Johnson. That song I was playing over the break. It's always more fun to share with everyone. I mean, that is, right, like perfectly aligned with the program today. Growing your gratitude. The way you grow your gratitude is by sharing expressions of gratitude. And like the man said, I call him the banana pancake man. I call Jack Johnson the banana pancake because he had that song, Banana Pancakes. If you've never heard that, you need to get educated. Your education is woefully deficient. You need to go check it out. Banana Pancakes, Jack Johnson, classic tune, right? So I love the tune so much. I call him Mr. Banana Pancakes. So it's like Mr. Banana Pancake said, it's always more fun to share with everyone. And that's the joy that we get in life. When you share, when you give happiness. We've talked about this time and time again. I'm going to bring it up again because it's so pertinent. It's so, just right there with what we're talking about. Happiness is giving your all to all the right things for you. That is the definition of happiness. Notice there's nothing in there about having anything. Like, we were talking about this on the program earlier. There's nothing here about having anything. Happiness is giving. First and foremost, giving. When you give gratitude, when you express gratitude for what you have, you open the door for happiness because you're giving that to others. And what is it really that you're giving to others when you express gratitude? Have you ever thought about this? I think first and foremost, what you are giving is an example of how to extract more joy in life. That's the first thing you give. By actually expressing gratitude, you're setting an example that shows other people the way that they can go. The second thing that it does is it gives permission for people to walk that path. So by expressing gratitude, you are showing an example of how to get more joy in life, and you're giving other people permission to have that same joy in their life by following the example that you set. So, like I was saying in the break, there's that really popular Thanksgiving tradition of, everyone goes around the table and says something they're thankful for. I, I, I I have a hard time remembering that in my family growing up. You know, I, I, I think we might have done it once or twice, maybe. I don't know. I just have a hard time remembering. What I do remember, as I said in the monologue, I remembered the food. I remember the food because, hey, food, I mean, good food is one thing that a lot of us can be really thankful for. Now, I say a lot of us because not everyone in the world has access to good food. Sometimes you got to eat what's there to stay alive, and may not be pleasant. But most people aren't in that situation. Most people have good food that they can enjoy. But I mean, what a thing to be thankful for. How many of us actually stop and realize, you know, how wonderful it is to have good food to eat? Think about it. You know, what are the things that you like to eat? And, when did you last eat them? And when are you going to eat them next? I mean, think about these things. It just immerse yourself in a feeling of gratitude that you can have that experience. And you can play this out with anything. You can play this out with everything in your life. You know, just think about what are the things in your life that give you joy and express gratitude for that. And I'm not so sure that the medium of expression is that important. I mean, so whether it's like a social media post or, you make a video that you put on YouTube or you're, sending someone an email or you're having a conversation with somebody and you express it in that conversation, um, or you're writing it in your journal or whatever. I don't think the medium is really all that important. I think the important part is when we actually make the conscious decision, the conscious choice to sit down and actually express the gratitude for whatever it is. So go back to the example I was giving, earlier in the program where I was saying, we have this hymn, Count Your Blessings. Name them one by one. Count your blessings. See what God hath done. Count your blessings. Name them one by one. Count your many blessings. See what God hath done. How many of us actually do? I mean, we sing his song all the time, but how many of us actually put that hymn into practice? Again, if you haven't done it, take some time tomorrow during Thanksgiving. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. Take some time tomorrow during Thanksgiving and sit down and actually make the list. Start making the list. Now, I want to say start making the list and not make the list. I started by saying make the list. And then I was like, well, wait a minute. You really want to just start making the list. Because you really, I mean, to actually make the list, the complete list, is a daunting task. It really is a daunting task. When you sit there and I mean, it's going to take you a long time to actually make the list. And you don't need to make the complete list to get the full benefit that comes from making the list, right? So that's why I say start. Just start making the list. Start making the list and actually physically, I mean, no, you can do this, old school analog with, a writing instrument like a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper, a notebook, whatever. Or you can go, digital, you know, uh, you know, use a word processing program or, there's plenty of apps out there for notes. Um, you know, uh, something as simple as, Microsoft Notepad. I mean, you want to go simple, basic, something that doesn't have formatting features. Yeah, I mean, it could be something as simple as that. However you want to do it, just sit down and start making the list and listing out one by one the things in your life that you're grateful for. And as you list them, take a moment to reflect and and focus on feeling gratitude for whatever it was you put on your list. So, you know, I obviously, from the monologue and what we were talking about earlier, I'm obviously grateful for good food. I love good food. I gotta tell you, what's not to love, right? I mean, good food. Who doesn't like good food? So, I would put that on my list. I'm grateful for good food. And then I would sit there for a minute and think about the gratitude, feel gratitude for the food that I have that's good. Now, one thing that helps me to feel gratitude for good food is reflecting on experiences when the food I had wasn't really that good, at least not from my perspective. At least not from my perspective. Others might have thought that it was fantastic. But hey, sorry, I'm just built a different way. Just I just not that impressed with it. So yeah, I've had those experiences when it wasn't so great, and that's what helps me to feel more grateful for the moments in my life when it was really great. You know, as I was, writing the monologue blog post and thinking about, you know, Thanksgiving, the traditions that I had growing up in my family and the traditional meal that we had, it's just like I just start salivating. Mashed potatoes and gravy and I mean the thing my mother's gravy had just the right thickness to it. I mean I've had gravy that was like really like just like water. It's so thin it's like water. It's like that that's not that. And there's other gravy I've had so thick. It's like, wow, you could like you could serve this as like a dip for chips. But you got to get that sweet spot in the middle. And my mother knew how to do it just right. And of course, she made, these, sweet potatoes with brown sugar and marshmallows. It's so good. And of course, the other fixins there. And most things you make in a slow cooker are just going to come out fantastic. And so the turkey roast, you would buy these small little turkey roasts. We never had like the huge turkey bird. We never had that. Okay. My mother was she wasn't going to do that. And that was way more food than, our little family could really, I mean, there was just no point to that. So, she would buy these smaller roasts and set them in the slow cooker. And they would set and they would cook. She'd get up in the morning and put it in, start it up, and then it would sit there for several hours. So that by the time we get to the middle of the afternoon, late lunch, for Thanksgiving dinner, then yeah, it was so moist and juicy and tender and just had just a wonderful flavor to it. And yeah, and then then of course, the pièce de résistance is my mother's homemade yeast rolls. And I kid you not, right? I'm so grateful to have had my mother's yeast rolls. I don't think I'll ever have their like again. I've tried to make them myself and I fall abysmally short. And everyone else that I've seen try to make them, they just, yeah, they fall short. It's just not the same. No one, and of course, other people have their roles. I had to be careful, you know, whenever I visited my grandmother. This is my paternal grandmother, so my father's mother, you know, she thought her roll recipe was the bomb. And don't get me wrong, she made good rolls, but they were nothing like the rolls my mother made. So I always had to be careful around her. I'm grateful for your rolls, Grandma. Your rolls are great. I had to say nothing about my mother rolls. I don't even bring it up. I don't even insert it into any conversation because I know the minute I do, I'm walking on very, very thin ice. So I just stay away from that. But yeah, my mother's rolls were just they were the bomb. I'm sorry, if you think yourself a roll connoisseur, you think you know what the best rolls are. I'm telling you, if you haven't had one of my mother's yeast rolls, then I'm sorry, And given that my mother's in the last chapter of her life right now, she hasn't really cooked much of anything for years. And now she doesn't cook anything at all. Someone else is doing all of, the food she eats is cooked by somebody else, all of it. She doesn't do anything to fix any food for anybody, not even herself. So, she's in the last chapter of her life. And so if you haven't had one of my mother's yeast rolls, sorry, you're going to have to wait till after the resurrection because you're not getting into this life. It's not happening. So, yeah, it's just, I'm so thankful I have that experience. Just thinking about her roles right now. I'm just salivating inside. So, looking at the clock, yeah, good time for a break. Let me take a break, maybe grab a bite to eat, and then I'll come back after the break and share with you some final thoughts about gratitude as we head to Thanksgiving. See you there on the other side, peeps.
Joy in the Journey Radio.
And welcome back, Pete. From that break, we are here in the JJ Zone, Joy in the Journey Radio. Today, talking about growing your gratitude. And really what it comes down to is it's like a testimony. The way you grow your gratitude is by expressing it, by feeling it. One of the habits that I've adopted in my life, and, I share this with you for your consideration, is when I have my morning prayers, I start off my day with prayer. And in those prayers, I don't ask for anything. I simply just say thank you. And, it was when I first started the practice, it was a little awkward because I it was a different format for prayer and I wasn't used to it. But once I got used to it, and I just flew with it. And, it's really brought in so much benefit into my life where I actually, I start the day coloring it with gratitude. That bleeds in all throughout the rest of the day. It creates a spirit that is much more positive, much more upbeat. It helps me to extract more joy in my journey, quite frankly. And so, I I recommend this practice for anybody. You know, when you have your prayers in the morning, you know, don't ask for anything. Just say thank you. And oftentimes I'm thanking, my Heavenly Father, not just for the things that He's already blessed me with, but I also thank Him for future blessings I have yet to receive. Like For example, earlier this week in one of my classes, we had a test. It was the last test of the semester. And, so I, felt that I needed to do well with it. And so that morning in my prayer, I'm expressing gratitude. I'm not going to ask for anything, just expressing gratitude. And the way I expressed it, I wasn't going to ask for help. Yes, I want help for the test, but I wasn't going to ask for help for the test. Instead, what I ended up doing was expressing gratitude for whatever help I would get. I love that. Think about it. It's like, I'm not asking you to go against your will. I'm not asking for something that's not in accordance with your will. Saying thank you for whatever measure of support you give me is basically adopting an attitude of humility and saying, yeah, I'll be okay with whatever you decide to provide me. And you're not seeking to do anything that would be contrary to the Lord's will. You're basically saying, hey, whatever is appropriate for you to bless me with, thank you for that. Now, I hadn't received anything yet. I had not received anything yet. But I guarantee you, when I went in to take that test, I felt support. I don't know how I did. I think I did all right. we'll we'll find out next week after we get back from Thanksgiving break. But you know, uh, there's something about just expressing a prayer of gratitude and not asking for anything, just saying thank you. Thank you for what you received. Thank you for what you have now. Thank you for what you will have. You have not yet received, but you will receive, and whatever that is. And to express it in a way that promotes humility, that promotes just all the virtues that you find, like the fruits of the spirit: long suffering, compassion, charity, patience. The long list. We know what those virtues are, right? We all know what those virtues are. So it's just inspiring those virtues into our lives. And the key of it all is gratitude. I kid you not. You start your day out with a prayer of gratitude, it will color the rest of your day. Your day will be much more positive and upbeat. I guarantee it. So there's something for you to consider as we, wind up the program today and going into Thanksgiving tomorrow. I love Thanksgiving. It's not my favorite holiday. Christmas, by far, is my favorite holiday. And so, I'm excited for things. One reason I like Thanksgiving is not only because lots of good food, always thankful for good food, but it's the start of the Christmas season. Thanksgiving marks the start of the Christmas season. So, yeah, you know, the season that's centered around my favorite holiday. So, of course, I'm going to like Thanksgiving because it's like, yeah, your favorite holiday is just around the corner. So, yeah, I'm thankful for Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for the opportunities that I've had in my life, everything that I've done in my life. And, I talked about some of them in the monologue. There's so much more to be grateful for. I don't have the time to go into a lot of it now. Looking at the clock, we're almost out of time for Join the Journey Radio. So let me just end the program today by saying thank you. Thank you, my listeners, my audience, whoever you are. Thank you. Everything that I do with Join the Journey Radio is intended to help you. So thank you. Thank you. Because, admittedly, even if you weren't there, I'd still be doing this. I've shared this attitude before. It's like, it's not about me. It's never been about me. It's always been about giving, you know. But thank you for those of you who are there, for those of you who have over the years let me know that you're there. Thank you. I will go and do what I do here on Join the Journey Radio, irrespective of, the result that happens. I'm not looking for social proof. I don't care if, nobody watches the videos that I post on YouTube. I don't care if nobody comments on the blog posts that I post up on the website. All these things that people do looking for validation. I'm not in it for that. I'm not in it for that. I'm in it to provide material that the Lord can use to bless the lives of others in His way and in His time. That's what I'm in this for. I'm in this for you. I'm in this to help you maximize the joy in your journey and to provide you content that can help you do that. So for those of you who have, come back and, expressed interest, asked questions, participated in some way, even if it's just something as simple as liking a video on YouTube to help me with the algorithm, thank you. Thank you. Because, it's one thing to do this in a vacuum. It's another to do it, and I still have that purpose. So if I do it in a vacuum, it's okay. But it's a whole other ball of wax to get the feedback from other people. So thank you. Thank you. For those of you who have done that, thank you. And that's all the time we have for Join the Journey Radio. Of course, thank you, as I always end the program with. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope, as always, I was able to offer you something beneficial, something useful. And if I have, do me a favor. First of all, if you're watching this on YouTube, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, help me with the algorithm, and help me spread this out to more and more people out there, because there's so much darkness in the world. And as I look at like singles groups all over the country and just see how many people are just depressed and discouraged and just overwhelmed with unnecessary negative emotion, let's clean that up, people. Let's clear that out. Let's help people feel the light, the love, the goodness that can come, the joy that our Heavenly Father wants us to have, and feel more of that in our lives every day. And you can help out with that, by spreading the word of Join the Journey Radio. So let's do that. And, we know that there's so much darkness in the world today that we need all the light that we can muster to push it back. So let's do that. Let's share goodness that we have. If I've helped you today, pay it forward. Pay me back by paying it forward. Help somebody else out. Find somebody in your circle of influence and help that person out. And don't forget, come back next week for the wonderful, splendiferous, joyous episode of Joy in the Journey Radio. So until next time, this is your host reminding you, there is joy to be had all along your journey. So take that joy and journey on.
This is the chapter.